Remember, muscles they take in glucose, which is great for glucose management. Welcome back everybody, Jason here at Bodybuilding Masters Coaching, helping diabetics get the right nutrition, exercise and ultimately really transform their bodies. This session is all about protein and the importance of protein for great nutrition and diet for those suffering or at risk of diabetes, and really the importance of protein and how you can include portions of protein within your meals. So a few things about protein first. First of all, protein is basically made up of amino acids. That's their counterparts. And there are 20 naturally occurring amino acids. Some are essential, i.e. you need to get them from your diet. You don't produce them yourselves. Others are less essential. And there's some called branched chain amino acids. And they are really important. They're shown to be important when it comes to building muscle. And obviously muscle is also key to keeping fat metabolism in control. So the other part of this is your sources of protein. There's animal protein and obviously there's plant protein. You can get protein from both types, but sometimes the quality of the protein can differ. Plant protein, you might have to eat various different sources in order to get the right protein you need, whereas from animal protein you're more likely to get it. That's because there's a difference in the bioavailability of the protein and also the actual number of essential amino acids and branched chain amino acids that are available in that type of protein. So bear that in mind when you're building a meal. Now, there are some really important parts of protein, notable things and benefits you get. Number one is the metabolic cost of actually digesting, absorbing and utilizing protein. It's what they call the thermogenic effect of protein. And it requires the most energy out of all the macronutrients. More energy than fat, breaking down fat, and far more energy than breaking down carbohydrates. In fact, eating protein alone takes up to around about 15 to 25% of the calories that you take in from protein is already lost through the process of metabolizing it. So just by including a bit of protein in your diet in every meal, that can help you start to lose weight or also maintain your weight. It really reduces the chance of you getting obese or reversing those obesity symptoms. The other fact of protein is that it's great for building muscle. It's essential. It elevates your metabolism and it makes you feel fuller. So you're less likely to graze and snack. You have much more protein in your portions, then you're going to feel full and you're going to have less appetite, which is great for controlling your calories. Now, I'm going to bust some myths out there. Having a higher protein diet, so having more than the recommended amount, and by the way, the recommended amount is about 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. Okay, so if you know your body weight in kilograms, you can work out how much dietary protein a day you can include. But you can have more than that, and that can help you control your nutrition, especially if you're building muscle, but we'll talk about that, but also, as I said, just having more protein to control your weight over time. Are there risks to increasing your protein amount? Well, first of all, a few myths. Having a higher protein in your diet does not damage your kidneys, as long as you've got healthy kidneys. But we do know that elevated blood glucose levels, so having a higher blood glucose levels, and if you're diabetic, that could be a situation, then you can damage your kidneys. And so therefore your kidneys can't function the way they should be. So if you have normal functioning kidneys, okay, even if you're diabetic, then there should be no issues with increasing gradually your protein intake. If you know that you have kidneys which are damaged, are not fully functional through diabetes in the past or currently, then you would probably benefit from having a lower protein intake within your diet. But if you know you're controlling your diabetes well, and it's well managed, then there's no harm in increasing your protein within your diet a little bit more. And let's bear a few things in mind. If you're exercising, you have, especially when it comes to resistance training and muscle building, then you're going to need the extra protein in order to build the building blocks. They're important for the building blocks of muscle. Also, it's important to bear in mind in that hyperglycemia, which is a catabolic process, actually starts to break down protein. So that's also something to keep in mind if you do have hyperglycemic attacks. that's also going to be there to help you break down the extra protein that you're taking in order to manage your weight. But Body Remaster is all about the long term. That's why we help diabetics in the long term. You might see some fluctuations from day to day, which you can control through either medication or making sure you're checking your diabetes at certain times before exercises, during exercise and after exercise and things like that. But ultimately, if you start to increase your protein intake while doing certain resistance training, for example, you're going to increase your muscle mass. You're going to get leaner. And what will that result? It will result in increased strength. It will result in glucose uptake. Remember, muscles they take in glucose, which is great for glucose management. And that is independent of insulin. The other part of this is that it's key for metabolism. I mentioned that 1,000 times, but it will increase your metabolic rate, which also improves your ability to reduce fat. And also it just increases body confidence. It creates shape in your body and it will help you get to your goals much faster. So protein is a fantastic way to, one, curb your appetite, control your appetite, you won't get as hungry as easy, providing a constant stream of amino acids for muscle recovery and repair, and slowing glucose release. And in fact, it's great it's great for glycemic management, which is really important for diabetics, and just stabilizing that glucose control. So that is why you should always try to include protein in every single meal, because it has an amazing effect. And it's really important. Quite possibly the most important macronutrient out there is protein. That being said, there are situations and exceptions when it comes to diabetes nutrition. For example, if you had to treat a hypoglycemic attack, the first thing you're likely to do is you want quick release in energy. Things like macronutrients like carbohydrates and fats, for example, a chocolate bar could be something you're going for. There's a couple of things with this. First of all, don't overeat to treat a hypoglycemic attack. That is constantly sometimes an issue that people see, and it's not great for their fat and weight control. But also, all you've got to do is just curb back and pull back a little bit on the protein intake to take into account any unplanned event where you need to have a little bit of carbs or fat, not protein, because you need to treat a hypoglycemic attack. So remember, your overall calorie intake for the day and for the week is what makes a difference. So if just because you had treating a hypoglycemic attack, that doesn't mean your whole thing's ruined. It just means you need to curb back a little bit on some of the other protein in your meal, because you know you had a little bit of extra calories through treating a hypoglycemic attack. So if you're asking the question of how much extra protein should I have, it really does depend. It depends on your activity levels. Depends if you're trying to reduce fat naturally through a fat loss program and also trying to build muscle. So if you're much more active, then you can start increasing it to maybe 1.4 grams or above, 1.4 grams per kilogram of body weight. However, that being said, if you're a sedentary individual and you're not, you're looking to just maintain your weight, and you're not very active from day to day, maybe due to work or family or whatever it may be, then you should keep it at the recommended amount of 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So what's my conclusions? The first one is try and consume above 1.4 grams per kilogram of body weight if you're trying to actively reduce fat and build muscle. Okay, so you're much more active. Increase your protein levels, of course, if you don't have any issues doing that. And of course, as a diabetic, monitor your blood glucose and make sure that you're altering your medication if you are beginning or if you've decided to increase your protein intake in terms of any changes you're seeing in your body. So that's my summation. It's really important, protein, and it has a really important part to play in just improving your overall health and transforming your body. So it's really key for nutrition, whether you're at risk of diabetes or you're diabetic. Now, of course, as always, please ensure that you reach out to a medical professional. This information is only for educational purposes, so I'm not a doctor. Please check with your doctors if you're going to make any changes when it comes to protein intake and nutrition. Really great to help everybody out there. If you want to see more of these videos on nutrition, training, mindset, within the Body Remaster coaching community for helping diabetics or people at risk of from diabetes, please actually subscribe and like the channel and put any comments you want, maybe any other suggestions or concerns that you've got and you want other videos to help you out. Other than that, cheers, bye.